All right, it's finally time. I'm finally going to start a new bullet journal. I haven't bullet journaled for like 2 years now, which is kind of embarrassing because I run a bullet journal stationery shop. But I got to the point where I was just like, I am not sure if I have the time for this. And more recently, feeling more and more scattered. Like my diary that I use, my paper diary with dates already printed in it, it's just not cutting it anymore. Like I need extra space for all of the other things that I've got going on, all of the projects, all of the ideas, all of the big lists of things that I like to write down frequently, my morning pages, and to be honest, my diary is just not working for me anymore. So today I'm going to be setting up a new bullet journal, which is very, very exciting. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the things that I'm going to be using, and then I'm not going to overthink it. I've got my massive pen box full of stuff and a new journal, and then I'm just going to get on with it, and then I'm going to do a little flick through once it's all done and explain to you what I've done, why I've done it, and why it's hopefully going to work for me. FYI, my bullet journals are not bells and whistles, or not super fancy. They are very functional, and the point of them is not to be aesthetic. So if you're here for aesthetic bullet journals, maybe skip to the next video. My bullet journals are very functional. They're for me to record my ideas, to organise my thoughts, to try and keep track of stuff. They're not to be like pretty to like post on my Instagram. Sadly. I mean, I wish I could do both, but I literally just can't. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to be using. So first up, I'm going to use the same style of journal as this one because I really like these. These are custom journals that I had made for my store. They are 160 GSM dot grid paper. They are linen bound, and I added a woven patch on the front. These are patches by Mokuyobi Threads, but I've got a new patch which I'm very excited about for this journal, and I'm going to show you now. So I am going to start with one of our linen bound journals. These are like a really affordable alternative to another journal company which also has thick paper and linen bound covers. Alright, so this is like a teal colour. It's got like this elastic closure. It's got a pocket at the back for me to like store stuff in. It's got a couple of ribbons for me to keep my place, and the paper is just, let's see if you can hear it, super thick and nice. So, and it's A5 size, so quite portable. So I'm going to be using one of these, and then I'm going to be adding one of our clear covers to it, because as much as I love the tactileness of this fabric, like I am messy, I will spill a cup of tea on this without a moment's notice. So I like to cover them in one of our clear journal covers. I've had this journal for like over a year now, and it stayed good because the cover is on it. And my patch for this journal, I'm so excited about this. We recently started stocking Stay Home Club, an amazing Canadian brand, and they have these sticky patches, and I'm so excited to use this one. I think the peach is just going to go really nicely with the teal. It's like this beautiful embroidered felt patch, and it's just like self-adhesive, so you just like peel it off and stick it on. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to show you how it turns out, and then I'm going to get to setting up my journal, and then I'll come back at the end and show you how it turns out. Okay, let's go. And I feel like I could either go center. I kind of like it just sort of at the top like this. So I'm gonna use that placement, same as my other one. Keep going with the seam. Okay. Oh, this feels very sticky. That's good. So that's what it looks like on the back. Wish me luck. Okay, it's stuck. That's not coming off now. Okay, there it is. I love it. So this is my new one, and this is my old journal-y sketchbook thing. Okay, so let's get to work setting this up. All right, so that is probably about an hour and a half later. I have set up my journal, and I'm going to do a little tour of what it looks like inside. So I've first of all put my clear cover on as well, which fits really nicely. The little elastic bit here just threads through at the top, and then you can use it to close your journal over and keep everything nice and safe and secure. But I was really trying with this journal not to overthink it and worry about it being perfect. So I just used what was in my pencil case. I didn't look for specific supplies. I was like, do you know what? These are the things that you use often. So just use these things. Like, there's no point in thinking about it too much. I obviously like using these materials, so why not use them for my bullet journal? So I started off with a little "This Bujo belongs to." Like, I know that some diaries have this already, and I do like to add this. I'll probably go in and like add like my email address and like maybe a phone number at the bottom, just in case I do. The worst thing in the world happens and I do lose my journal. It means that somebody could potentially contact me. I always like to add like a little incentive, like a little prize or reward or something, saying like, if you find this, then I will buy you a bottle of wine if you get it back to me, or something like that, because it would be terrible if I was to lose this. So first page, and this is the page at the very, very front that doesn't have any dots on it. I just did this. And then to start off my journal, I like to have like an overview of the whole year. So what I tend to do is I start with an overview of the whole year, and then I start breaking down time into smaller chunks from there on, and I'll show you how I do that going forward. So I start off with a big things in 2025, and you'll see that obviously I'm starting this in May. So with this system, it's not really that important that you start it in January. A lot of folks message me and they're like, oh, but you know, I'll wait until next year till I start this new system. You don't have to, you can start this now. Like, I'm starting this one and I'm in the 5th month of the year, but I've just divided this page up into 2, 4, 6, 8 sections so that I can put all of the big things that are happening in each of the months. So the first thing that I look at when I open up my journal is all of the big things that are happening. I know that some people like do a contents page, but I don't number my pages, and I find that I don't really go back to that. So I've stopped doing contents pages altogether. So the first section that I add after this, as I mentioned, I start breaking time down into smaller chunks, is this future log. So I'll give myself more paper than the big things list to write down more detailed things. So things that maybe aren't as like big or important, I can list these down here, and you'll notice that there's no dates or anything like that. This is just like a sort of overview, a place where I can write down all of the things that are happening, maybe ideas, maybe potential plans for this month that don't have dates yet. And then when I get a little bit closer to those in that particular time of the year, I can like add more details to them later. So I've got my future log for May, June, July, August, and then all the way through to December. So this will last me up to the end of this year. And again, like I have kept everything super, super simple. I just used one of these Pentel brush pens for like the chunky line, and then one of these Stabilo Pen 68s. I love this. It's just like a black felt tip pen, but it's just like got a nice thickness of line. And I was like, I'm just going to use this, and this is going to be how I do all of my headers. They're not going to be fancy. They're just going to be really bold and like functional. So I went with that style throughout the rest of the journal. So going forward, I was like, I know that I'm gonna have like a couple of project things on the go that I want to give myself space for. So to break up the sort of like month to month planning sections, I added this. Now we've got like a bunch of stuff that needs done in the house right now. So I just created this super basic layout, which gives me space to list all of the different things that needs to get done in the house per room. And then I can add like a little square where I can tick that off or fill it in when those things are done. This is something that I feel like I've really, really missed in not having a bullet journal, is like space for like long-term projects. Just having somewhere where I can go back to these after time and be like, right, well, I knew that I did have a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do in the kitchen, but what was that? Have I done it yet? Are there things that I still need to finish, etc.? And the same sort of applies with things like having ideas for products. Now, if you follow my business online, you'll know that I've got 2 different online stores. So my nickymcwilliams.com shop, which sells all of my biscuit stuff, and the Nikki Supply Store, which is the stationery side of my business, where I sell all of these supplies, my journals, etc. Everything's a Nikki Supply Store. And I will just be like sitting on the couch, or I'll be making something and I'll think, oh, that's a really good idea for a product. And I might put it in like my sketchbook or a notes in my phone or something like that. But having like a specific tactile place where I can come and write those down, and maybe even use the same book for sketching or brainstorming. I just find that I really, really like recording like ideas this way, and having the 2 different sections is really good as well, because it allows me to sort of group those into categories that make sense. If I have a little bit of time that I want to spend on developing products for a certain store, it's really easy to come back to this and be like, this is where my bank of ideas are. So next up, I wanted to go back into my monthly planning, and this is again a more detailed breakdown for each month. And I usually do one of these like at the end of the month for the next one, or at the very, very start of the month. Like I don't plan these too far ahead in advance, because that sort of stage of planning would either be in here or in the big things section. So this is only for when that month is approaching, or at the very, very start of that month. So I give myself a whole A5 page, the whole width, and I highlight the weekends in a colour, and then I can just list all of the things that are happening that month in this section here. And I went for like kind of a funny title here. You can do that, or like just write the whatever month you're in. And then I've given myself some more brain dump space as well. I love just to have a space where I can empty my brain of ideas, thoughts, things that I'm worrying about, things that I need to do, tasks, that sort of thing. Like, there's no real specifications as to what goes here. Anything can go in a brain dump, but I just like to know that I have space for this in my journal. So I've given myself kind of a pretty looking brain dump here for the start of May. I might end up needing more than one of these, but this is my very first brain dump. And then we get into the weekly spreads. So, I mean, this is quite aesthetic for me, I guess. Like, I've given myself like a little illustration as well as some more space on this page to either write more brain dump lists or even to like doodle. But I've literally just used another one of those Pentel brush markers, the Stabilo Pen 68 felt pen, and just done like a little line and then whatever the day of the week is, and then a thin gel pen for the date. And I made a spell mistake here. I wrote san instead of sun, which is annoying, but I think that it's easier sometimes just to leave mistakes as they are than to try and fix them. I'm just like, do you know what? I'm just gonna put a question mark here, because what even is going on with that? It's gonna look better than if I try and like patch it up with paper or even like glue pages together or something like that to start again. I don't want to start again at that point because I'd already drawn this cute little illustration and I thought it would be a waste. And yeah, for this page here, again, just gave myself this little page to draw and doodle on. I could have just left that blank, but seeing as I had my minty green pen out, I decided just to do this little sort of washi tape kind of effect. But yeah, that's it. That's the first few pages of my new bullet journal. There's quite a good structure here, but I've also left myself room for it to develop as time goes on. I do like to give myself extra pages for drawing, extra pages for list making, that sort of thing. So I can really see this probably not going into the next week after here. Once I get further down here, I'll have a better idea of what's going to come in these pages here. But in general, I would say that I usually do these maybe just the week before, or maybe at the start of a new week. I try and not do them too far in advance, just because I might want extra space in my journal to add other spreads in between. So yeah. Hopefully that has been somewhat useful. I know that my system is pretty basic compared to some of the amazing bullet journal spreads that I see out there, but this is one that really works for me. It's not super time consuming, and if you are the sort of person that you feel like you don't have a great deal of time for keeping up a practice like this, I would definitely recommend going for something super minimalistic and kind of carefree like this. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited to get started with this again. I've really missed my bullet journal, to be honest with you, and I am just glad that I'm giving myself that little bit of time and space to use this again, because I feel like my brain really appreciates this system and I'm really looking forward to getting into it again. But if you've enjoyed this video, I would love for you to pop a little comment below and tell me which part of it resonated with you. Let me know if you're thinking about starting a bullet journal of your own, and if you'd like to see more stuff like this, then please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. But I'm gonna go and make myself another cup of tea and maybe do a few more pages of this. But for now, I will say goodbye and I'll see you in the next one.